Hey everyone, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad. We were sent a code for A Dream About Parking Lots, which is a game that I saw and I kind of looked at and was like, what on earth is this? And I think sometimes there's indie games where they're kind of taking this, how weird can we make something? What's a weird thing we can make into a game? And then it's just kind of that weird for weird's sake. I thought that might have been what this was, and then I kind of looked at it a little bit more, and it actually is a really interesting concept here. So what this game is you are just walking around a parking lot, and you have your remote for your car, your little key fob for your remote, and you are just hitting the lock button to make your car honk and flash its light as you walk through parking lots so that you can find your car. Now, on top of that, the character in the game is going through therapy, and you're kind of having these conversations with your therapist as you're walking through these parking lots. So you're discussing these dreams about getting stuck and lost in a parking lot that you're experiencing, and we're playing these as you're talking through, like, well, what does these dreams mean? What is this telling you about you? Like, what are your thoughts about this? And weirdly enough, this game gave me like giant amounts of anxiety, and I kind of realized this plan is like, I really do get a little terrified when I'm in a giant parking lot. And I actually looked at my phone pictures, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures of just like parking like signs and like little landmarks in parking ramps and parking lots, because I think kind of terrified of losing my car like this. So it's kind of one of those weird things where it's like, oh, this is hitting me on like a horror game level in a weird way that like horror games don't hit me, because this is something I'm actually terrified of. So the game itself, it is quick. It's about 30 or 35 minutes. So I do think that's something that you need to consider if you're going to check this out, that you are probably only getting about that much. But it is basically just a 2-button game. 1 button to try and hope that your car starts honking, and 1 button to pick through dialogue options. So as you're walking through the game, the parking lots get bigger and bigger, which I thought was kind of fun. Like the first one, it's like you're very clearly just kind of in like a supermarket sized parking lot where there's maybe 4 or 5 aisles of cars, and you can probably find your car in about 30 seconds maybe. But as the game goes on, that's like, okay, well now we're in like a 3-story parking ramp. So yeah, I'm hitting the button and my car's honking, but I'm not seeing the lights. Oh, okay, maybe the car's on the floor above me. So it weirdly kind of expands on some of that in like a puzzly way. And then then there's one where you're like clearly at like a giant outdoor festival or something, as all these cars are parked on the grass inside these different little chain link fence lots. And it's okay, well, what lot is my car? And again, the game gave me giant amounts of anxiety just trying to think about how much I hate this. And I think what even contributed to that more is that you're getting these therapy questions in the background. So not only is it the therapist going, how did that make you feel? But then it's giving you options of like, well, I feel desperate. I feel this. And it actually like weirdly made me go sit through and go thinking like, ooh, I really don't like this. Like, why don't I like walking through parking lots like this? Why am I so terrified of losing my car? And there's, it gets into because it's also, these are all, like I said, these are all dreams, a dream about a parking lot. So they're all dreams. So it gets a little bit into that weird of like, well, like, is this dream just this like state of being that you're in? And like, what if this is just your life now that you're stuck in here? What if you don't wake up? So it gets into like all these really deep philosophical thoughts that you might have. And you're picking dialogue options. So it almost, I think it did a really good job of putting me into that character of going like, oh man, like, why would I be terrified of this? Like, why am I terrified of this? Why would I be terrified of this? Like, you're right. Like, what if this is what I'm at and I'm just stuck here? So it for being just a small indie game, it put a lot of interesting thoughts in my head just in these 35 minutes that I played with this game. Actually, I guess I played it for about an hour because I was playing the Switch version on a Switch 2, so I don't know if that's I know there's some games that are having issues with that, but mine crashed like 3/4 of the way through, so I played through it basically twice. Besides the point. With the dialogue options, it does change the dialogue a little bit, because I kind of noticed as my second time I tried to pick a few different things, but there's no like real major changes coming from that. That's like the first 85% of this game, which I really did like. I thought it was very interesting, very cool, put a lot of unique things going through my brain that I don't experience, I think, when I play a lot of other games. And it felt very like open-ended, like very much like this is your chance to understand things about yourself and like put yourself in these shoes. the last like 10 minutes of the game, so like the last maybe like 15% or so, it gets very specific to, I think, how the developer of this game thinks about these things and what the developer was going through in terms of their state of being as they think through these things in kind of this therapeutic setting. And it weirdly, like, instantly kicked me out of the game just because I was like, oh, well, me and this person who made this game clearly were going at things a little bit differently here. I wasn't thinking about this, I wasn't thinking about that way. And clearly he's thinking it more in this way, and it becomes very much a, like, how the game is, how his thoughts shaped this game, and you kind of really get some of his personal touch there, which is interesting. But what I was really enjoying in the game was kind of trying to, almost role play as this character. Okay, like, I hate this. Like, what's going on with this? Like, how do I feel about this? So then just kind of getting, like, their thoughts as some things happen between you and the therapist, and as the game changes a little bit in the last, 10 minutes or so, it kind of took me out of it, and just kind of the ending just kind of was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, yeah, this was your therapeutic activity, not supposed to be mine. So you're kind of getting this resolution from this, not me. So it's kind of a weird way to end it, just because I do think it did such a good job of trying to engross me into this concept that it was making. Ultimately, though, I'm finding that recently I'm really loving these games. They're just these short little, like, movie length, or I guess in this case, almost like TV show length, or like half a movie length. I'm really finding myself much more engrossed in these, I feel like, than even some of like the big AAA games, just because I feel like there's just something unique about it. There's something unique about just walking around and just pushing this button, which is such a real life activity that I feel like everybody's experienced at some point of just, where the hell did I leave my damn car? And it's such an interesting way to kind of portray something like that, and to use it to kind of also kind of dive deep into your psyche of how you're thinking about dreams and how you're thinking about these things and why that's such a terrifying experience. So it's a game that kind of resonated with me again. I think it kind of missed the landing for what I personally would have wanted, but I could see very much how the person who's developing this wanted to push it in that direction. But we are Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. There's links to us on Patreon as well. We'll see you later.